Hey, thank you for joining us tonight. I am your host, Kymberly Smith, the Purpose Catalyst, and welcome to our live podcast recording. This is going to be so crazy because I've never done it before, so welcome in. So listen, tonight I have with me Yah Hughes. She's my purpose sister. Y'all treat her right. Do good by her because it's very important to me. So if you don't know, let me introduce you. This is the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society live podcast recording. And tonight, like I said, I have my sis with me, the Purpose Cultivator herself, Yah Hughes. Yah, why don't you tell a little bit about what you do, girl?
Hey guys, hey, my name is Yah Hughes, your Purpose Cultivator. I help women shift their relationship with their excuses, their experiences, so that they, and their emotions, so that they can be everything that God has called them to be, not just in their business, but in life. So I am an author and educator, and I am the founder and CEO of Made for Purpose, my brand and business that houses everything purpose and helps you get up after life's painful pitfalls and walk in your purpose.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Like to have a first live podcast recording, it had to be you. Yeah. It couldn't be anybody else, because that way, if I mess up, then we're family.
It's fine.
It's all good.
The purpose sister, so it's fine.
Exactly. So listen, if you didn't know, if you have not been catching up with the podcast, this is where, and I'm, maybe I should back up. I'm the Purpose Catalyst because I like to incite purpose riots. So I help women identify their purpose, transform their pain into power, and activate their zone of genius so that they can create income streams, multiple income streams. So that's what the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society is all about. So one of the major components about pursuing your purpose is making sure that you are whole when you do it. You cannot transform your pain into your power and really embrace your superpower until you learn how to be whole. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tonight. Because I think sometimes we get so excited at the fact that we've identified purpose that we forget about the fragments still, kind of lingering that we don't deal with. So Can we talk about the necessity of being whole before we talk about the power in it?
Yes. So I think that, listen, Evangelist Lauryn Hill said a long time ago.
Evangelist Lauryn Hill, yes!
Evangelist Lauryn Hill said a long time ago, how you going to win when you ain't right within?
Come on and
right?
talk about it.
So all of us want to do all of this winning. We want to crush these business goals. We want to be absolutely flat out amazing. We want to get every coinage that there is to get. We want to slay. But what happens is if you don't deal with the inner part of you, if you don't deal with that broken piece, if you don't deal with that broken part, I'm going to tell you that thing is going to show up in the boardroom. That thing is going to show up between you and your clients. That thing is going to show up everywhere. So it is vital that you really deal with all of your stuff and all of the broken pieces and the fragment parts so that you don't have stuff spilling everywhere. Because the thing about being broken is you can't stop where it spills over. And that's the problem that we have, is we believe that we're going to take this broken piece and we're going to put it over here, and it stays over here underneath this rug until we're ready to deal with it. But because we've swept it under that rug for so long, we begin to trip over the rug. And at some point, we got to just lift the rug up and we got to deal with ourselves. And the necessity is that when we deal with ourselves, then we can be the best version of ourselves in every capacity, not just in business. So many of us will spend and invest so much money in the business coach and all of those things, but we don't want to deal with the trauma. And in order for you to be everything that you wrote on that vision board, that you cried out to God about, that you did all of these things, you have to deal with you. You can't conquer what you don't confront.
Oh my God. Yes, it's absolutely true. So let's talk about this, because I think sometimes we think because we said deuces to it, we wave bye-bye to it at the end of the year. We danced over it on Sundays. We said out of our mouth that we don't care anymore, that we still don't necessarily see the symptoms or how past traumas kind of exhibit themselves. And so while we're saying we're over it, our actions are saying other things. Can we talk about how past traumas still show up in our behaviors, in our mindsets and things?
Oh, absolutely. See, the problem is we say one thing, but what we said didn't go into alignment with our emotions. It didn't go into an alignment with our heart posture. It did not go into alignment with our mindset, because I said it, but I didn't do anything to change it.
Come
right?
on.
So again, if I didn't do anything to change it, but move from December 31st to January 1st, all I'm doing is saying what I'm not going to do. But if I did not sit back and take control of that mindset, if I did not go through and say, this is how it's showing up in my life, so this is what I need to do to stop it and to confront it, then it's going to continue to have the power to show up again and again and again. And that's the disadvantage that we have is we speak things. Yes, we can speak things into the atmosphere. We declare, we said that we're not doing it anymore. But after we declared it, what's the action behind it that's going to be in alignment with what we spoke?
Exactly. Let me, and let's, I mean, because this is what we do in the 3P society. Like, we real transparent up here in this area of our lives. So I'm going to talk about me, because I don't want to talk about them, because I don't want nobody to unsubscribe from the podcast.
I can talk about me because I know me better than I know anybody that's right now.
Right. So let me talk about me. So I remember, like, I used to be like extremely rageful. Like, it wasn't 0 to 10, it was 0 to 100. And I didn't even really have to think about what I was going to do because I had already pre-planned it. Healing from that, or being whole after that, meant that I didn't resort to what I did in the past to handle current situations.
Yeah.
It meant that even though I said I'm not going to do it again, I had to talk myself down, even though the hard-headed part of me was like, no, girl, get them. No, girl, handle that. You know, I had to simmer down a bit, because the no, girl is what'll get you charges. The no, girl, get them is what'll have you fighting out in the street for no doggone reason. And then you'll go home and be like, that was so stupid.
But it's like riding a bike. Like, listen, it's like riding a bike. I ain't been on this bike in a long time, but I promise you, if I get on there,
I'm gonna know how to get down.
I'm gonna know how to get down. So you got to begin to train yourself so that you're not in that place. Like you said, listen, you ready to go rage. I rock rough and stuff with my Afro puffs. Like, you're trying to go there, but you had to begin to talk to yourself, because you can identify now how that thing show up. So now I know. So now I can say, come on back.
Oh my God.
We can't do that right now.
Right.
It's going to cost you more.
And even with our mouth, like, I literally had to start thinking, when the Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue, I had to really start thinking, what in the world are you saying? Because what I was saying was, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, or, oh, I wish I let me see him out in the street. And then when I would see him, I would have to calm myself down, because I didn't already said, if I see you, I got it for you.
And of course you can see it after you said it.
Oh, I'm so glad, because I don't. But what you say out of your mouth is just as important, because it is a confession. There are actions that follow that, and there is a whole system waiting to manifest what you say out of your mouth. So even if I don't go get them, even if I leave the gasoline can in the shed and put the lighter back on the shelf, even if I do, if I decide to do that, it's the mere fact that what about our thoughts? That I even thought about,
See, and that's what we don't talk about. As long as I didn't do it, it's okay.
No, it's not. It's a lot for you to help.
It's not. As a man thinketh,
so is he.
so is he. So the mere thought, that's why the mindset has to shift first, right? In order for you to be whole, you got to know that there's something broken. And then I got to begin to change. I call it the playlist. You know, that playlist that you play in your mind that says, I promise you, if he say this, I'm going to say that, and then it's going to go this way. So you already thought about it in your mind. And once you think about that thing, you have replayed this whole scenario as to what's going to happen. And because it's in your thought process, then now I'm going to act on what I think.
Honey, yes.
So therefore, there has to be a change in what you put in your mental playlist. You got to begin to change the narrative of what you tell yourself based on the broken place that you were in. Because we tell ourselves all kinds of stuff based on that brokenness, based on that broken place. Because in that place where I dwelled, I began to thrive there. I began to go there. So therefore, I got to change that. If you cannot grow, if you are full of, come on, it's no space.
If you're full of baggage, there's no space for small things. Come on, Clinton. Come on and talk about it. Like, that is it right there. You know what? There are some things that, and I know, like, we're women of faith. So y'all already know you're going to hear Bible, you're going to hear God, we are women of faith. So, you know, come on and join us in the conversation. But you know how, which I find is so funny though, we get so upset with the Israelites because they wandered for 40 years. We are so mad and we judge them so hard. Be like, how could you do that for 40 years? How could you have Moses? Why didn't you just listen? But we do not listen at all and we build a whole house in trauma instead of passing through. Like, we'll build a house, we'll put an addition on it, we'll have a deck, we'll invite people to cook a barbecue,
basement.
We will have a housewarming in trauma.
Hosting Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, and be thankful for the trauma.
Because we've got comfortable there.
Yes.
Listen, when we first got in that trauma or in that dark place, I always like to call it like that pit. You know how when you get in that dark place, when you first go into a dark space or anything, you're scared, you can't find your way around. But the longer you stay there, the more you can do in the dark, the more you get comfortable there. You know, when we first moved into our home, I didn't know the lay of the land, you know, and all of that. So you get scared and you're tripping over stuff. But after a while, when you stay there for a long time, you don't have to turn any lights on to get around. And that's what we're doing in our brokenness and in our dark places. We, like you said, you know, 2-car garage, have set up shop here. And our defense mechanism is that we've been here so long, we've invested so much, because in the beginning, we didn't want to stay there. In the beginning, it was uncomfortable in the beginning, but after a while, you know, we stayed there for our 40 days and 40 nights. And when it was time to listen to Moses and when all of the signs were there, we made a decision to stay in that broken place. Although we wanted something different, we got comfortable in that place. And now this becomes familiar and not what God would have for you to behold.
Now, that's the truth. That is absolutely true. We forget the pass through part. And it came to pass. Like, we forget the fact that this is temporary. It's not a domicile. It's not the place where we store things. It's not the place where we kind of hoard. And let's not talk about if we've been through it multiple times or if there's additions on it and we start to hoard all of this trauma and hoard all of our past experiences. And we never get to the fullness. We get to peek over and see, but we never get to the fullness. We get a sneak peek and we like, oh, that's good. And we can operate in the sneak peek, but never get to the depth of who we are because we're too busy still holding on to the baggage, as Clinton said, or we're too busy holding on to what has happened that we can't even embrace what is going to happen. And so, is there, and I don't know if we talk about this a lot. We tell people to be healed. We tell people to be delivered, and we tell people to be set free. But can we talk about a success strategy and what it looks like dealing from, look, I identify, I am here. How do I get to there? What's the strategy in that?
So here's the thing. there has to be, you don't jump from being here to being there, right? And the problem comes when the problem is that once we get up, right? So once I get out of that dark place, I don't take the time to remove the residue. I don't take the time to get all of that off of me, because in that dark place and in that pit, it was dirty. And I just got up and I don't look back and I'm set free. But I didn't realize that it's so much residue and so much dirt on me. So my thinking is still in survival mode. My thinking isn't in the palace, but I'm still in the pit. So I'm surviving, but I'm not thriving. So in order for you to get there, the strategy then becomes understanding that every level that there's something that has to be released off of you. And when I say release, what am I letting go of to embrace what's next? So I want healing, I want wholeness, but what broken area am I going to deal with today? And when I deal with that broken area, how does it look? What does it tell me? What does my broken piece tell me? When I think about that and when I'm in tune with who I am, I understand that I battle, well, we're going to be real, I battle with rejection, right? So mine was rejection. So that manifested in trying to please people. That manifested in looking for love in all the wrong places. All the wrong WONG. So if I'm going to be healed and delivered, I understand that if I'm going to deal with the rejection, I got to deal with the spirit of lust.
Come on, because that's how it manifests, right? Can we talk
about it? So I can't jump from being here and not deal with it. So when I say deal with it, after you change the narrative in your mind and you begin to change your mindset, I then begin to look at how this thing show up in my life and how has it been making decisions for me. So when
go back. Did you say how the issues have been making decisions for you?
Yeah, they made the decisions. I wasn't in control of
that. Pause there and talk about how the past trauma, the challenges, the issues, the rejection made decisions for you. Can you please talk about that? Because that was good.
Rejection made me do it. I have a chapter in my book called Rejection Made Me Do It. Why? Because I'm battling with rejection, and that's the voice that's the loudest in my head. So if that's the voice that's the loudest, my issue then became my sounding board. It's how I made decisions. It told me who to date. It told me what job to take. It told me all of these things. But when you don't know that, and when you're not honest and real with it, when you sit back and you say, after you wailed and after you've cried and the hands and the oil has been laid on you, and you walk back to your seat and you realize that the person that you live with, or you realize that the job you're in is all because of that traumatic place. Now that I know that, see what happens, I know it, but then everything starts talking me out of telling him he got to go and take your toothbrush and get on out, because I made this decision out of rejection. And if I look at this thing, I understand that this wasn't the decision that I made. Y'all didn't make this decision. Rejection made it. So therefore, I got to do the cleanup. And so many of us are in situations and circumstances because our decisions were made based on our issues. We've allowed for our issues to become our identity.
Yes, and yes.
And because of that, we don't know who we are. So we got to relearn that thing, right? When we understand that we're set apart. I mean, what does that really mean? Do I know what that means? And does my life resemble that once I got up?
Okay, so wait, pause. Okay. There's so much in what you just, dude, we're only 20 minutes in and I'm sick of it already. So yes. And you know what? For everybody that's on, we have quite a few viewers. We got some comments. I don't know if you've seen them or not. But listen, if your issues have ever made decisions for you, can you hit us with a number 1 in the comments and tell us what type of decisions did you make? What issues were there? Let's talk about that. So 1, if any issue has ever made a decision for you, throw up a 1 in the comment. and tell us exactly what it was. I mean, you have never lied. That has never been a true statement. I mean, like, you need to do a whole post on this because, ma'am, I mean, hello. Yes.
Who's making the decisions in your life? Is it your fear? Is it your doubt? Is it the rejection? Is it the little girl or the little boy that is still stuck at the age of 12 that needed the validation? Because for me, the little girl was still stuck at 8 years old, looking to be seen by her parents. So pick me. And anybody that came through that picked me, I didn't have nothing to vet that person with. That's how the issue made a decision for me.
So let's talk about that for a second, because God, I just started seeing a stream of all the decisions that were made by the foolishness. But the truth is, once we stop this process of allowing or choosing from a place of trauma, then we have to make new clean decisions.
Absolutely.
That are really based off of who we are. But how do we deprogram? Let's really make sure that when people leave tonight, totally clean, totally know how to rock out with this. How do they deprogram? What do they do?
It's by putting something different in. So you got to combat it with something else, right? So for me, wait, I need to go with a Clinton. We're going to pause that right there. Can we talk? Sexual abuse had me angry for over 20 years, which resulted in drugs and which was in prison.
That's how it manifested.
Behaviors
that resulted in. Clinton, thank you for sharing that, because I don't know how many people would be honest enough to say that.
Listen, if you tell the truth, you could get some help.
Honey, if you tell the truth, you'll shame the devil and get some other people to say the truth as well.
Because here's the thing. Everybody getting their deliverance back here, but ain't nobody coming out and talking about what they just got delivered.
Nobody wants to be real about it. No.
Because if we're going to talk about it, we're going to shame the devil. But after we shame the devil, we get help, and so do other people.
Yes.
So when we talk about, okay, we got to this place, and now I understand that they've made decisions. Oh, no, that's why you can talk about it, because you're free. Right?
Exactly.
That's why we're here now. So once I make that decision and I'm ready to get to that new place, listen, what we have to begin to do is, what am I putting in now that's going to combat all of the rejection? So when I understood that I wasn't rejected, right? And I mean, I listened to had stock in the CD of rejection. I had volume 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm selling CDs out my trunk.
With them lined in the jacket of your trench coat. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I got. So now I have to remove that and pick up a new playlist. So then if I'm not rejected, what am I? So you're telling me that I'm accepted, that it did not matter what my parents said. It did not matter who left me, because he said, before I formed you in your mother's womb, right?
He knew us.
I knew you. Yeah. So before all of that. So Jeremiah 1:5 was it for me, because I understood that I had to combat that rejection with something else. So I am not rejected. I am not on accident. I am valued. I am loved. And I begin to say that every single day until that's what's spilled out of my mouth and not the rejected part of me. It didn't happen in a 7-day, fast. It did not happen overnight, but it was me being, what word am I looking for? Intentional about making the decision to put something else in my mind. So I had to list everything that I thought I was. That I was rejected, that I wasn't valued, that I'm not going to be anything, that I would never. And then what am I combating it with? Right? And pick one thing at a time. Because you're trying to get all of this stuff done. You're trying to deal with fear. You're trying to deal with doubt. But if you deal with the root of the thing, everything else will follow suit.
That's it.
in order for you to change, what are you reprogramming yourself with? Who are you reprogramming yourself with? Because you programmed yourself with what the enemy told you for so long and what the world said and whatever seeds that were planted in your mind and in your head. But now that they're gone, what am I putting into the ground now so that it could take residence and grow?
Oh my God, that is so good. And it really does boil down to what we said earlier. What you say out of your mouth follows through in your actions. So now, and it made me think about like what you said, yours was, what did you say? Jeremiah 1:5 was your scripture about before God knew you. So then you have to really start thinking from a place of, wait a minute. If God knew me, he knew I would make this mistake. He knew that these things would happen to me. See, mine is Jeremiah 29:11. If we link them together, then we can say, but wait, he did not cause me to stay here because he said he gave me a future and a hope.
Yes.
So there's no way, there's no future in this trauma for me. There's no hope in this desolate land for me. So that means that there is more that needs to be accomplished from this place. So it's a decision. It is a decision to say, one, this situation, this circumstance, these people, this place is not going to deter me from my God-given purpose. When you say yes and you fully submit to God's purpose, it's a matter of embracing everything that he says about you.
Everything. You can't pick and choose what part of that. No. Everything that he says about
you.
I tried.
It did not work for me. You cannot pick and choose. So that means if he says that you are powerful because he made you powerful, you have to embrace the thing that makes you powerful. That's what I want to talk about next. How do we get them to denounce the trauma and the manifestations that resulted from the trauma, to healing from it, to now when they see it coming, they're like, oh yes, I got this. Like, I saw this coming a mile away and now I'm ready for you. And not only am I ready for you, but let me help some other people get free because I know how to do it. So let's talk about the power in that alone.
So here's the thing. In order to talk about the power in that, again, you got to know that you have the power. See, when we were in that broken place and in that broken state, nobody told us that we could get up and walk away.
No, because we surrendered ourselves to the broken place.
We surrendered ourselves to it. So now that I got up, now that I made a decision that I'm going to give this wholeness thing a try, I got to understand that the power comes by me activating every part of what God says about being whole. Every I decide, I got to activate it.
Oh my God, every ounce. Every ounce.
To activate. And what am I activating? Everything that he's given me the power to do, to be over, everything. The power is in becoming whole.
Oh, that's it.
The power is in becoming whole because I'm making a decision to be an active participant in becoming whole, in becoming everything that God created me to be. And when we think about this word wholeness, like we hear broken all the time and all of those things, when we think about being whole, and this is the definition that I wrote down, it is the reconstruction of our souls, our experiences, and our pain. So basically,
wait, hold on. Let's put this on the screen, please, because you know I'm here for definitions. So you know everybody needs this one. It is the reconstruction
of our souls, our experiences, and our pain. And I'm gonna tell you why. Why is it the reconstruction of our soul? Because God tells us that I want your soul to prosper and be in good health, right? So what is my soul? My soul is comprised of my mind, my body, and my will, right? So that's housed with my emotions. So if my emotions were based upon the rejection or the trauma or the issues, then there needs to be a reconstruction so that I can get in alignment with what God said. Right. So then I reconstruct my experiences. What do I mean by reconstruct my experiences? How would you have me? You can't have me reconstruct something that has happened to me, but you can make a decision to look at it from a different vantage point.
You absolutely can.
So when I shifted from nobody loves me and how dare me be in this situation, and I began to look for love in all the wrong places, to what can I get out of this? And what if I looked at even in everybody else's neglect, everybody else mishandling me, everybody else rejecting me, that God never went anywhere and it could have ended up a different way. So now when I reconstruct my experiences and not to just look from a victim standpoint.
Honey, we got to move to being the victor. That's it.
So activation comes when I begin to look at how I'm the victor over this. Activation comes when I begin to say, in spite of me going here, here, and here, now look at how God has used it for this. Because had we not gotten to a place of wholeness and activating, we wouldn't be on this podcast.
Now that's it.
We wouldn't be able to talk about it, right? So then there has to be a reconstruction of our pain. How are you dealing with your emotions? What are you doing differently with your pain when it comes up, right? Because here's what I do know. The counselor in me knows and understands that pain is an indication that something's going on in my body. So when I stump my toe, there's a pain that shoots up to let me know to look down.
Come on here.
But when I look down, I need to, 1, check to see if my toe is okay, and 2, move out the way.
It's the truth.
So when I reconstruct my experiences with my pain, then I look at it from a different perspective. And now when that thing comes up, I know what to do.
Can we talk about this for a second? Because I think this.
I said, when's the conference?
That's why I left it up there. Girl, I'm not dealing with you tonight about this. Let's talk about this for a second. I think that you are absolutely positively correct. Like, we came from the same school of thought on this. So one of the things that I think is absolutely interesting is, way back in the beginning in Genesis, when God told Adam, he gave him dominion over all. See, number one, you had me at dominion. Like that was enough for me. So my thing is, if I have dominion over the birds, the animals, and all these creepy crawly things, I have to I'm bigger than it. I get to boss it around. It has to obey me. I've been given dominion, which means somebody gave me the management position.
Yep.
And I ain't already have to ask for it. I was endowed with being the manager, the dominator, whatever you want to call it.
The steward, everything.
You understand? So why is it that we are so okay with not taking dominion over the things that either one we bring on ourselves? Because we'll be very quick to say
everything ain't the enemy.
I do it. It happened to me. We're quick. Or 2, the things that truly do happen to us and we slide right under and let that thing take dominion over us. And then it takes us a while to really realize that, oh, wait, this is not the way it was supposed to be. We bow down to it. We worship it. Honey, we let that thing cradle us.
It bullies us.
Honey, I have a whole camping trip with the issues that happen to us. We're not realizing that we were already empowered with dominion over it. Yes. So it's funny. And I think it was Amani, who said, and we need to answer this. I don't know how to use my coping skills when it triggers. Let's talk about that for a second.
So I think that's where we begin to, where's your playlist of when the triggers come? What am I going to say? What am I going to do to combat this thing? How am I going to respond? That's going to be in a way that's going to be different. Because here's the thing. when your triggers come. So what I want for you to change, Imani, is you're not going to cope with anything that you have the power over.
The power over says I can kick it out.
Yes. So because cope means that I'm dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you shouldn't use coping skills. What you begin to do is when those triggers come, you begin to tell those triggers or begin to change what you focus on and begin to speak to that emotion that's coming up. And again, handle the emotion so that the emotion doesn't handle you. And what do I mean by that? When I begin to feel rejected. So for me, because that's something that I was delivered from, the enemy is going to always use that. Mm-hmm. So what am I trying to say? What we fail to realize is when we're delivered from something, we're delivered from it, but the enemy knows that that's what he's going to use, or we're going to always be tested with those things. Because rejection was something that I was delivered from, there's going to always be a time where I'm going to be placed in a situation to think about that thing, right? So what will happen is when those emotions begin to come up, I got to really tell myself that they're not rejecting you, because it stopped just showing up there because I conquered it with relationships. I conquered it in this area. So now I'm at work and the proposal hasn't been accepted. And now I feel some type of way, but it has absolutely nothing to do with me. So now I begin to say, you are not your work. They're not rejecting you. You are not tied to this very thing. Get your emotions in check, meaning I begin to speak to that thing and I begin to talk myself down, because if I don't, my mind is going to go all the way here. So now they didn't accept my proposal, which means that they don't value me as an employee, which means that I'm not going to ever submit a proposal again, which means that you see how we begin to go down this road, whatever yours is, because it starts very small. And when you don't begin to tackle that thing when it's small, that dominion over. I gave you the power to tread upon.
Honey, and I'm sure
you got the power to tread upon serpents and scorpions, but you're not doing anything with what's going on in your own mind.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes.
Number one, let's talk about the power of the things that we have. We have power to tread over serpents. There are some that are poisonous to death. But we have power over that. There are some that will try to suffocate the very life of you. But we have power over that. Scorpions sting. They are poisonous as well. We have power. So we have power over the poisonous things that attempt to kill us. We have power over the things that have come to suffocate not just who we are to death, but suffocate the very purpose of you being in the world. So when you realize you have power over even those things, then you'll realize I don't need to cope. I need to exert power. I need to be empowered to do. It's not coping. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. It is never coping. And
it's mismanagement of your power.
Exactly. And if your power is never tested, you don't have it.
Yes.
You cannot say I am powerful. And let's just be real. Jesus showed how powerful he was. It is evident. It is written. It's for everybody to see. So if you say that I am powerful, I have a power in me, I have moved from being the victim to the victor, it has to be tested. And if you can't take the testing, it means you really have not necessarily tapped into the power of who you are. Because you cannot crumble if you have power to overcome that which has tried to crumble you. It's just not possible. It's scientific. We could do so many science experiments right now. It's just like saying I dropped out of school in the 3rd grade because I got a 98 instead of 100. No, you kept trying.
You kept trying.
Every marking period, you was like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to do this. And then you went all the way up to the 12th grade and got a whole diploma. But you didn't stop over one bad grade. And that's exactly what healing is. You don't stop after one bad experience. You don't stop after somebody does something wrong or you failed one test. You keep going and you prove that you are all powerful and you can be trusted with the power.
That's it. You have to be trusted with it. What are you doing with your power?
Oh my God.
What are you doing with your power? Is it laying dormant? Are you, again, activating it? If I activate my power, when you activate something, that means that you're unleashing it. That means that you're in a place that you are allowing it to do everything that it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we got to make sure that we understand that what does that dominion look like, and how do I exert that thing in a way, not for before I can get to the scorpions and everything else right here.
In my own heart
mindset. I need to take dominion over my mind.
Yep.
And not allow, again, my issues to dictate anything, because they are voices. A lot of times we say, well, it's the enemy. Sometimes our experiences and our circumstance and ourselves begin to talk. Because if I could be honest, okay, what happened with, being rejected with my parents, I talked myself into going to go get accepted by everybody else. I talked myself into having the bad attitude because I felt that I was entitled to this. I talked myself in it. So therefore, I had to begin to be responsible with what the part that I've played in this. And if I'm going to be whole, I got the power to deal with every part of it. So let me take stock and inventory as to how this thing manifested and what do I need to do to activate something different.
Absolutely. What do we need to do to activate something different? That is the biggest thing. So for all of our viewers tonight, listen, hit us up with one comment of what you are going to do starting tonight to really activate your power. And can we talk about how we walk other people through this real quick?
Listen, once you get healed, once you get whole, it is your responsibility and duty to help somebody else with this process. And how do we do that? We simply tell them how we got through what we got through. You overcome them by what?
Honey, the word of your testimony and the good blood of the Lamb.
The blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. When you get and begin to walk in your wholeness, you got to reach back and get somebody else. The whole premise of me beginning to really walk into my calling, because I said yes a long time ago, right? But not understanding that everything that I went through, that I was broken, was a part of my assignment. See, I was so busy trying to just get out of the broken place and just get up that I didn't want to go back and find a lesson in it to be able to give to somebody else. Now you want me to go back and write all of the ways that I got up and all of the strategies that I used, which means that I got to go back and look at this thing from a different perspective so that I can look at it. I got to find value in it. Right?
Exactly.
And value in that thing. So when I got whole, I would walk into rooms and see the rejected woman, that I could see the rejected little girl in the woman. So it was, okay, now I can't just walk up to people like, girl, you gonna conquer that thing. I'm telling you, you are X, Y, and Z. Catch me on a good day, I will. Right?
I mean, that's always, listen, that's a good day any day. Like, listen.
So then, God, what would you like for me to do with this pain? How do I turn this brokenness into the wholeness? How do I move from a painful place to a purposeful place? How do I activate this power? Because what I do know is that if you understand an electrical socket, right, there's always power running through it. You got to tap into it. If I never plug in to that power and activate my testimony and activate the healing and the wholeness, then how am I going to charge somebody else? How am I going to help somebody else? How are you going to incite these riots? How are you going to do all of these things if you're not at a place that you understand your power and you understand that just by you tapping in right here, because I have the power because I continue to tap into my source.
Come on.
Which is God, right? I continue. Now that I've gotten up and now that I've done all of that, I still have to continue everything that he's told me to do so that I can give you everything that you need.
It's the truth. And the one thing that I want to say in this moment, because I want it to be forever documented, when you walk someone else through the process, and I am going to sit up and say this, it is imperative that one, you don't rush them. Two, understand their process may not look like yours. Three, you do not drop them because you get tired of dealing with them.
That's it right there.
You do not have the right to say, I can no longer help you because I'm over it. Now, it's different when the person is trying, and I mean wholeheartedly trying, and I mean just, they're having a rough time. We're not talking about the manipulators. We're not talking about the people trying to take advantage. We're talking about a person who truly wants to be discipled, who is hungry for more, and you decide to drop them because their process does not look like yours. Do not do that.
You can't.
You will disturb their healing more than anything you ever realize. Don't do that.
Don't drop them.
You can't take on the person, then find somebody who can.
Use your resources and find somebody who can.
Yeah.
And because you got to understand, one, you're not picking them up and walking them through for you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. And when you understand that it has absolutely nothing to do with you, then it's easier for you not to drop them.
Yes.
It's not about me. And they don't learn at the pace that I learned. They don't get it at the pace that I got it. And who am I to say that they're not catching on or they're not doing it at the speed that I think? When it took me, how many years to get mine right?
It's a process. Everybody's process is different. But you can't afford to drop anyone. For each one person, what if that represents another 100 women, another 100 men? That ripple alone is so profound. You have no idea. If you never see the multiplication happen, you need to know that it does.
It does.
It does. And you want multiplication. You never want subtraction. You never want division. You always want it to be multiplied. There's something about exponential power in the agreement of two or more. It becomes way more combustible than if you have one person. So can you imagine if you discipled one person into becoming whole? And that transformed itself and multiplied into a whole conference where 100 women became whole. And then that moved to 1,000 women who became whole, all because you took the time to disciple one person who said, I need help and I can't do it by myself. We're not asking you to be a therapist. We're not asking you to be a counselor. We're saying use the word and trust your experiences enough to be okay to share them.
That's it.
That's all we're saying.
That's it.
We didn't ask you to pastor them. We didn't ask you to be their personal prophet.
Be authentic. Be transparent. Be authentic and be transparent.
That's it.
You can only give them at the level that you have to give.
That's it.
But that's what they need. They need you right there.
That's it. And then the other thing to that is I think people should know that it's important to master what wholeness looks like. It's important to master the gift and protect it. Everybody does not deserve your time, your energy, your gifts. Everybody doesn't deserve it. So you protect it at all costs. Some people come to be destructive.
Yeah.
So you have to discern who is there for you. Who is that person that you were supposed to help? Who are those people? And then you do that. But then master that thing. If it means you writing a book, if it means copying down your steps, so you have framework That's mastery. If it means coming up with a faith confession for people for healing, if you keep running into the same situation, maybe I need to help them with some affirmations or some confessions they can say in the morning. That's mastery. But don't just sit idly by and say, oh yeah, you can do this. What? Oh, you need help again? No. Master that thing.
That's
for
right.
those people who are going to come after you. Get a finished product together. That's everything. Like if I come and I say, look, I really need help and you have real resources to help me, that means you really studied the pit. You weren't just in it. You studied the pit and learned how to get out. You crafted a whole exit strategy on how to get out of the pit so that you can help other women. That means that you really know how to be powerful. You tap into your power when you can get an exit strategy and say, listen, I can be the whole Harriet Tubman of rejection. I can be the whole Harriet Tubman of rage. I can be.
This rejection and rage, them two together, my God. Could you imagine?
No, honey, that was whole. That was me. That was all me. Honey.
If we get people free from them two alone,
you know, can we get from lust too? We can get them free from rage, rejection.
The rejection and the lust came hand in hand for me, so I got you.
Okay, all right, I was over.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
We can do. Okay, if we can do that, I mean, listen. Do you know how powerful we would have? We have a whole crew of superheroes with their capes on. They wouldn't even need no mask because they feel they're transparent. Do you see what I'm saying? You hear? Okay, all right. I'm just saying. Like I feel the whole crew.
When you have that power and you begin to tap into it, that's what you do.
Yep. What Stephanie said, learning that my time is too valuable. It is too valuable, sis. Especially when you write a book about time killers. It is way too valuable. You understand the value of time. Yes. Angela Nicole said, whoa, this is good stuff. Listen, thank you for joining us. But before we leave, I need Yah to tell y'all where she is. She is on the corner of Purpose and Destiny. Telling women what to do. She's on the corner of Made for Purpose and Destiny. Yah, tell them what you're up to these days.
So I am Yah Hughes on all social media platforms and www.madeforpurpose.org. I have a book, Made Whole, A Woman's Journey from Painful to Powerful. I do what is called Courageous Conversations. It's a workshop on emotional wellness. We talk about things such as this, but in a live setting when we're in a room together in the Delaware area. And I have been asked to take it on the road. So,
oh my God, yes! A whole city to city tour?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a bus?
Look, we're supposed to be telling the people. Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay.
So you can find me there all over Yah Hughes on all social media, Made for Purpose. And I'm going to say it. Amen. I'm going to say it because I'm going to say it. My next book will be out in October, and it is called Conquer It, Navigating Through Your Excuses and Your Emotions.
Yes!
Because once you navigate through those two things, I'm telling you, you're going to be all right. So let's go ahead and conquer it.
Listen.
Let's go ahead and conquer it. October 2018.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to come to this launch. What we going to have? We going to have some parties?
You're going to do it, so we're going to be all right.
Okay, yeah, great. I'm here for it. Okay, awesome. So listen, thank you for joining us tonight for the live recording of the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society. I'm your host, Kymberly Smith, the Purpose Catalyst. Listen, you can catch me at Purpose Catalyst on Facebook and Instagram. And we're planning, oh my God, yeah, we didn't tell them. So I'm planning for my book launch party, July 21st. If you have not done so, let me tell you where you can go get all of the details. And it is Kymberly.co/book launch waitlist. And P.S., my homie, my girl, Yah Hughes will be the MC for that night. killing it. And so we are going to be celebrating my book, The Launch Devotional, 40 Days of Purpose and Power for Women. I'm so hyped. Listen, you can already catch the 3-day sneak peek and pre-order your entire book if you choose to, which I'm sure you will after you get the 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah, people are like, oh, yeah, let me go grab that. So check out the book launch wait list, and it will have all of the details. You'll get, oh, God, I forgot to tell you that I booked entertainment. Girl, yes. Yes, it's going to be amazing. So we can't wait to have you July 21st. Thank you for joining us on the Purpose, Power, and Profit Society live podcast recording. We will see you soon, people. P.S. The replay of this will not be up for that much longer. And then you'll have to catch it on iTunes or SoundCloud or Google Play. We're everywhere. All right. We'll see you soon.
See ya.